The book, The Way of Rest, is divided into these 175 short segments, short little sort of prose poems. And there was a section towards the end of the book that really got my attention that I want us to talk about. And it was called Why You Want to Die Sometimes.
Mm,
And I think I wanted to talk about this because it's something I've felt. You mentioned that 10 to 15 years ago, this was a big theme in your own life. And it's something
mhm,
people don't talk about very often. So it's a taboo. We're not allowed to talk about why we want to die sometimes
mm,
without people calling the suicide hotline. And it's
mhm,
not even that necessarily we're quote unquote suicidal, but there's just
mm,
this sense of, God, I just want to die. And you
mm,
mentioned earlier in this conversation that it was the part of you at that time in your life that was really looking for
mm,
rest. And I want to
mm,
read a little bit of what you write. Here's what you write.
mm.
The urge to die is the natural urge to shed the illusion of the separate self, to let go of the exhausting burden of me and my life. Use the thought, I want to die, to begin a deep meditation on the nature of self.
Oh, did I write that?
You wrote that. Very good. Yeah, very,
Oh,
very
wow.
unteacher likely brilliant.
Well, I can't take credit for anything I write. Um, I don't know where it comes from, really. It's my ghostwriter.
Okay, could you have your ghost speaker now
My ghost
address,
speaker. Yeah.
use the thought, I want to die, to begin a deep meditation on the nature of self?
Wow, yeah. I mean, this is I think it's really important to talk about this because I think it's too much of a taboo. I actually went on a radio show once with well, let's just say quite a well-known spiritual teacher, and we were talking about allowing and moving into this place of acceptance and allowing our thoughts and allowing our feelings, even the difficult ones, even the painful ones. And I said, yeah, like, and even these deep longings, like even the longing to die, like even that just comes to us for love. Even that just comes to us to be loved, to be allowed. And the teacher, the interviewer, he was like, oh, no, 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 we don't talk about that, basically. And I was like, really? Because surely that's the part of us that needs the most love, you know? Um, I think, well, it's like I say in the book, you know, the longing to die. First of all, I think we all feel it at some point in our lives, you know, in some form. I know I did many times in my life. That feeling, that thought, I want to die, came to visit so many times. I think I think a lot of people feel this sometimes. A lot of people don't admit it to themselves or don't talk about it. There's a lot of shame. I think there's a lot of shame surrounding the urge to die. You know, and often, you know, when we do try and share it with people, we're met with such fear, even panic, and people rush in and try to fix us, try to give us solutions, or they say, "Oh, no, 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 don't say that, or don't feel that," which doesn't really help, which just makes us feel even worse, which just adds to the shame that there's something wrong with me, you know. So what I came to realize was the longing to die really is the longing to live, misunderstood by the mind. Um, I mean, that was certainly true for me years ago. Like I reached this point where I was just so exhausted with, basically, I was so exhausted with myself. I was so exhausted with, um, or rather, so exhausted from running away from myself. So exhausted with the fight against myself, the fight against my present experience. Always running away from my thoughts, running away from my feelings, running away from my anxiety, running away from my fear, running away. And I was so exhausted. And it's like, I think deep down, really, I wanted to rest. And I just didn't know how. I wanted to rest. I wanted to be at peace. I wanted to rest, and I just didn't know how. And there was no one around me who was showing me. Like, I didn't have any teachers or you know, or anyone around me who had found rest within themselves. So my mind came to this conclusion that, well, if I kill myself, if I kill the body, if I end the body, then I can rest. It was really about finding rest. But for some reason, I didn't, and I'm happy. I'm so happy. I didn't take that thought literally. I have to kill myself. I didn't take it literally. I didn't end the body, but I carried on living, and and over the course of many years, I began to find that rest within myself that I thought I could only previously. I thought I could only find that through dying, or rather through killing the body. And I began to find rest actually in presence, and the rest came through beginning step by step to just allow myself to feel whatever I felt, to allow my thoughts. Also not to try and stop my thoughts, because for many years I'd been trying to silence the mind, because that's some of these spiritual teachers were telling me I had to have a silent mind. So I would sit in meditation for hours trying to silence the mind, making that into a goal. And of course, the more I tried to silence the mind, the more noisy the mind would become. And I thought, God, there really is something wrong with me. My mind is so noisy. So the more I just began to actually even allow the mind to be quiet or noisy, allow thoughts to appear and disappear, instead of going to war with them, instead of trying to silence them, instead of trying to get rid of them, just allowing thoughts to come and go like clouds in the sky, like waves in the ocean. And also beginning to allow my feelings. I started to become curious once again about my present experience. I should begin to feel my pain, to feel my sadness, to feel my fear, instead of running away, instead of numbing myself. So I started to feel less and less. I started to feel like I wanted to die, actually. And more I started to feel like I wanted to live. So really the longing to die, what is it? It's the longing to rest. It's the longing to be present. It's the longing to shed the false. It's the longing to be real, It's the longing to stop pretending. It's the longing to stop living someone else's truth. It's the longing for truth as well, to discover your own first-hand truth, to be authentic, to be real, to stop playing a role, to stop pretending to be something that you're not. That's what the longing to die really contains. Is it's the longing for authenticity. The longing. It's actually, and again, it's the absolute paradox. But I really feel this, at least in my own experience, I really felt this to be true. My longing to die was my longing to live, completely misunderstood. Completely misunderstood. So when people come to me these days, I've had so many encounters like this with people. People come to me and they and this happened on a retreat recently. This young guy stood up on a retreat and he was like, I have to say right now, I just really feel like I want to die. And this was on a retreat of like 100 people, and I think he had been feeling that there was something wrong with him, because everyone else around him seemed to be feeling peaceful and relaxed and restful, and there he was feeling that he wanted to die. And I was so happy actually on the retreat that he expressed that. He didn't hold that in. He was just so incredibly honest. I just said to him, wow, thank you for your courage, and thank you for your honesty, and for giving voice to that part of you. And I didn't make him wrong. I didn't shame him. I didn't tell him, oh, you shouldn't be feeling that. I didn't tell him, oh, you're in your mind. I didn't tell him, oh, you're in your ego. I didn't tell him that. I didn't make him feel there was something wrong with him. I think that was so important. I didn't react to him with fear. It was more like, thank you, and thank you for giving voice to that part of you. It's just something within you that wants to be felt. And I think the paradox is that many of us are afraid to feel, really, really feel into that longing to die, because there's a superstition almost that if we truly allow ourselves to feel into it, that we'll act on it. And that was always my fear. If I really allow myself to feel deeply into this longing, if I really allow myself to feel deeply into this feeling, then I will act on it. And actually, what I discovered over the years, actually, it was the opposite. The more space I made in myself, the more I actually dropped into this place of allowing, like allowing thoughts and feelings, even allowing this part of me that wanted to die. It actually felt less and less that I had to act on it. It felt more and more that it had a home in me, actually, and that it was something that all human beings feel at some point. It wasn't shameful. It wasn't even dark. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't even unspiritual. It was just a part of me. You know, sometimes the longing to die would come to visit. It would come, it would stay for a while, and it would pass. And like trusting that I didn't have to act on it. I didn't even have to get rid of it. Like that was the relief. I didn't have to squash it. I didn't have to kill it. But I could just know that it was just a part of me. It was like, it was a part of me. It was that young child in me who just felt like they wanted to run away, like they wanted to escape, that they didn't want to be here. It was that part of me that doesn't want to be here. And then we all feel that sometimes to a lesser or a greater extent. There's that part of you that doesn't want to be here, right? So, I mean, it can come in very mild forms, like I don't want to be in this moment. I want to be in a different moment. That's like the mild form of it. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in this moment. I want to be in a different moment. And it's extreme form. It's like, I don't want to be here on this planet. I don't want to be here in this body. You know, I don't want to be here in this life. But it's the same. It's that same longing. It's that part of you that doesn't want to be here. Basically, doesn't trust the present moment. So I think it's just really important not to make that not even to make that part of you wrong. You know, otherwise we think that allowing our experience means getting rid of the part that doesn't allow. We think that trust means, in order to trust, I have to get rid of the part that doesn't trust. So what I'm saying, basically, I mean, in this book, is that there's this deeper trust in which even the part of you that doesn't trust can be trusted, can be allowed. There's this deeper sense of allowing or acceptance in which even the part of you that doesn't allow or doesn't want to allow or doesn't accept, you know, even the resistance in you, even the non-acceptance in you is also beautiful. It's also sacred. It's also a precious part of you. It's a welcome guest. So yeah, the longing to die, I just think it's very misunderstood. I really believe it's the longing to live, misunderstood
Now,
by the mind.
in the quote that I read, you wrote, "Use the thought, I want to die, to begin a deep meditation on the nature of self." Talk about that aspect, how it can be a gateway to this inquiry about the nature of self.
Mm. Well, I'm always reminded of Eckhart Tolle's story. You know, his he. I mean, I've always related to his journey. It's in a way it's quite similar to mine. He reached this point where he just couldn't go on. He didn't feel he could go on, at least in the way he had been going on. And he reached this point where he felt like, yeah, he wanted to kill himself. He wanted to die. And then this question was born in him. Well, wait a second. Like, are there two of me? So there's a self, and I want to kill the self. But then who's the one who wants to kill the self? Is there the self and the one who wants to kill it? Like, how can there be two of me? You know, how can there be two of me? So really, the thought, I want to die, you know, at the root of that question, well, who wants to die? It really can just draw you back into this question, who am I? I mean, this is really where we're going with this, is we're coming back to this, the most important question, the first question, the original question. Who am I? Who am I? And this is really the question at the very heart of meditation. Who am I? In a way, you could say meditation itself is a living answer to this question: who am I? Who am I? You know, am I my thoughts? So you start to look into your present experience. What you notice is your thoughts are always coming and going. Your thoughts are always coming and going. So are you your thoughts? Well, I can be aware of my thoughts coming and going. So there's an awareness here. There's something here that in any moment, in this moment, can look at thoughts, can notice thoughts, can say, oh, look, thoughts doing this, thoughts doing that. Oh, look, the mind is noisy right now. Oh, look, the mind is quiet right now. So the question is, what is that? The question, who am I, can draw you back deeply into this space of awareness. Who am I? Well, thoughts come and go, and I can notice thoughts coming and going. So thoughts can't be who I truly am. Am I the breath? I mean, you could even begin with the breath. Well, the breath rises and falls. I can notice the breath rising. I can notice the breath falling. So am I the breath? Well, no, I can observe the breath. I can notice the breath. I can be present as the breath rises and falls, but that's not who I am. Am I sounds? Well, I can hear all the sounds around me right now. You know, the sound of this voice, the sound of the air conditioning, the sound of cars going, cars moving in the background. So I can be aware of sounds coming and going. So I am not those sounds, but I can be aware of sounds. Sensations in the body. You know, I can be aware of sensations in the body right now, painful sensations, pleasurable sensations. I can be aware of, you know, a tight feeling in the belly, or a sense of pressure in the head, or a tightness in the shoulders. I can be aware of these sensations, but these sensations are part of the world of the ever-changing, always coming, always going. So I can't, who I truly am, I'm not trapped in sensations. I'm not trapped in thoughts. I'm not trapped in feelings. I'm not trapped in sounds. You know, I'm in a sense, I'm bigger than thoughts, sensations, feelings. I'm the awareness behind all of this. I'm that which I contain. I'm the space for thoughts as they come and go, feelings as they come and go, sounds as they come and go. So the question, who am I, kind of can begin to draw you back into this sense of spaciousness, this sense of being the container of your experience, being that which holds the present moment. You hold thoughts and feelings. You can actually embrace thoughts and feelings. So, you know, you begin to come out of the past and future, and you drop back into the present moment. And what you start to realize actually is, in the present moment, it's kind of okay here. You know, you come out of the story of my life, the past and future, and you drop back into life itself, which is only ever now. The place where breathing is happening right now, the place where these words are being heard, the place where feelings are being felt, the place where the heart is beating right now. This is life. It's life. You drop out of the story of my life, and you drop back into all there is, all there ever is, actually, which is this moment, which is life. You start to feel how alive you actually are. So this was really how I healed from suicidal depression. I realized that my whole life I've been stuck in the past and future. I've been, you know, I hadn't really been connected with this moment. So these days, I'm just so fascinated with this moment. Really, I'm so fascinated with this question, like, what's it like to be alive? It's kind of always burning in me. It's like I lost all my answers, and all that was left was this kind of fascinate. I'm fascinated. Looking at this moment as if it was brand new. I became fascinated with my joy, but also with my pain. I became fascinated with my excitement, but also fascinated with my boredom, fascinated with thoughts, fascinated with the breath as it rises and falls, fascinated with sounds all around me. I stopped being an expert, and I became an amateur again. I love this idea of freedom. There's so much freedom in being an amateur. The expert knows too much. The expert is so stuck in their knowledge, and so they stop looking. They lose fascination. They lose their curiosity. I think meditation really it's all about becoming fascinated again, becoming curious again. That sense of Zen mind, beginner's mind, looking into your present experience with fresh eyes, dropping this agenda of like trying to fix yourself, trying to fix this moment or change this moment, even dropping this the agenda of like trying to get rid of your discomfort, your pain, your fear, and instead drenching your present experience with this fascinated, curious awareness. It's like falling in love with yourself as you are. As you are. So looking back, I'm so grateful that I got to that place of wanting to die. I got to that place of wanting to die, and I realized now it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a mistake, and it because then what it ignited in me is this curiosity, this this question became so alive in me, like, who am I actually? Who is it that wants to die? Who is it that wants to live actually? Who is it that wants to live? Not who is it that wants to die? Who is it that wants to live?